Hi friends, this is the MCA practice for this week. We have 3 questions and I'm going to show you how to solve them. So the first one is the surface area of a cube is 384 square inches. What is the volume of the cube? So we know the surface area. I'm going to write that down. $384, and we want to find the volume. So we're going to have to do some backwards thinking to figure this out. We know that surface area is the area of all of the faces of the cube added up. And because it's a cube, all 6 faces are the same. So we need to think to figure out one face. We're going to take the surface area and divide it by 6. So, excuse my poor handwriting, but if we do 384 divided by 6, that will give us the area of one face of the cube, and we get 64. We're not done yet. 64 tells us the area of one face. And because it's a square, both the length and the width are going to be the same. So we need to think, what times itself makes 64? So we're doing some backwards thinking again, and knowing your multiplication facts will help. But we know that 8 times 8 makes 64. So the length and width of the face must be 8. And because it is a cube, all the sides are the same, so that means the height is also 8. So all 3 dimensions of the cube are the same. So we know the surface area is 384. Now we have to find the volume. And volume is length times width times height. So the volume is going to be 8 times 8 times 8. And if we throw that into our calculator, we get 512. You have to remember the units. We are given inches in the problem, so it's going to be inches. And because it is volume, it is inches cubed. If we had a bunch of blocks that were 1 inch on each side and put them in this bigger box that was 8 by 8 by 8 inches, we'd need 512 of them to fit inside this box. So the next problem is a word problem. It says Jolene bought 12 apples. Each apple weighed 1.8 ounces. How many pounds of apples did Jolene buy? And I gave you a hint. There are 16 ounces in a pound. So this is not something we've necessarily talked about yet this year, and that's okay. I'm going to show you how to do it now. So we have to imagine Jolene here has all these apples. She has 12 of them. And they all weighed the same amount, 1.8 ounces. So to add up the weight of all of those apples, we could do 1.8 plus 1.8 plus 1.8 plus 1.8 12 times, or we can just do 12 times 1.8. There's a point there. And if we put that into our calculator, we get 21.6. But here's the trick. We aren't done yet. Even though 21.6 is one of your options, that is not the answer. Because this 1.8 is in ounces, which is, for some reason, OZ is the abbreviation. But the question is asking how many pounds of apples she bought. So we need to convert this 21.6 ounces into pounds. So we need to think about how many pounds there are in 21.6 ounces. So if we know 16 ounces are in 1 pound, we know we have at least 1 pound. Let's put the units there. 16 ounces equals 1 pound. For some weird reason is abbreviated LB. I think it's Latin. So one way we can think about this is say, all right, 21.6 minus 16. We know that's 1 pound we have. Can subtract that out. And there is 5.6 ounces left. So you know there's at least 1 pound for sure. And then we have this 5.6 left over. So we need to figure out the decimal that 5.6 ounces is compared to 1 pound. So we're going to talk about decimals in the next unit, but I'm going to show you the way to do this is to kind of make it a fraction. 5.6 ounces out of 16 will give us the decimal. Remember, fractions are just like dividing. Will give us 0.35 pounds. So if we put that together, we have 1 pound and then 0.35 pounds more. So the answer is 1.35 pounds, or LB. It's okay if you don't understand that yet. We're going to go over it in the next unit. So the last question, which is equivalent to this number? Equivalent is a big word, but we see at the beginning, we see this equa, just like the word equal. Equivalent and equal kind of mean the same thing. So it's asking, what does this mean? 4 to the power of 3. So we've talked about squaring a number, how we can take a number and put a little 2, and that means the same as that number times itself 3 times, or 2 times, sorry. So 3 to the power of 2, or 3 squared, equals 3 times 3. This is just adding one more multiplying number on there. So 4 to the power of 3 is the same as 4 times 4 times 4. It's just a shorter way to do repeated multiplication. So 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. Well, 4 to the third power is equivalent to 64. All right, I hope that made sense. Let me know if you have any questions.